Elon Musk goes undercover as a homeless person in a luxury restaurant. But what happens when the staff and customers finally realize who he is? The shocking ending will leave you speechless. Trust me, you won't see this coming. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, make sure you're ready for the twist that will blow your mind. Welcome to Zanimal. If you're loving the suspense, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more jaw-dropping tales. And hey, let us know where you're tuning in from. Now you might be wondering, why on earth would Elon Musk, one of the richest and most influential people in the world, go undercover as a homeless person? Well, it turns out he had a very specific reason. Musk wanted to experience firsthand how society reacts to those who are often ignored or judged based on their appearance. So, in a bold move, he slipped into the role of a homeless individual and entered one of the most exclusive, high-end restaurants you can imagine. So why would Elon Musk, of all people, want to do this? Well, it's not just for the shock value. Musk is known for pushing boundaries and challenging norms, and this was no exception. He wanted to see, firsthand, how people, especially those in positions of power, treat someone based on their appearance or their perceived status. This experiment wasn't just about proving a point about the rich and the poor. It was about testing empathy, compassion, and how society reacts to someone who might be struggling. Would they treat him differently once they realized who he truly was? That's exactly what he set out to discover. Now, let's set the scene. This wasn't just any restaurant. It was one of the most exclusive, high-end dining establishments in the city, known for attracting elite clientele and serving some of the finest dishes money can buy. Picture gleaming marble floors, plush velvet seating, and waiters dressed to the nines, moving around with precision and grace. The chandeliers hanging from the ceiling cast a soft golden glow over everything, and the air was filled with the faint scent of expensive perfume and the clinking of crystal glasses. It was a place where the wealthy came to be seen, where luxury wasn't just an option, it was expected. And into this world Elon Musk, disguised as a homeless man, was about to step. Now let's talk about how Elon Musk completely transformed himself for this undercover experiment. Gone was the billionaire entrepreneur in sharp suits and designer shoes. Instead, he opted for a look that would blend in with the crowd in the most shocking way. Picture this. Ragged, worn-out clothes, an oversized, faded hoodie, torn jeans, and shoes that had clearly seen better days. His hair was messy, unkempt, and he sported a scruffy beard that looked like it hadn't seen a razor in weeks. To complete the disguise, he even donned a few accessories, like a tattered backpack and an old weathered cap pulled low to cover his face. He looked nothing like the powerful CEO we all know. In fact, he looked like someone who had nowhere to go, no money to spare, and no one to turn to. It was a flawless transformation, so much so that no one would ever recognize him at first glance. As Elon stepped into the restaurant, everything seemed to pause for just a second. The soft chatter, the clinking of glasses. Suddenly, it all felt quieter. People noticed him, but not in the way you'd expect. The staff glanced over, but no one approached. His worn-out hoodie, torn jeans, and scuffed shoes didn't exactly scream VIP. Instead of a warm welcome, there was hesitation, even judgment. A couple of customers looked his way, eyes narrowing in confusion. Some seemed a little uncomfortable, maybe even a bit annoyed by his presence. Others quickly turned their attention back to their meals, pretending they hadn't seen him at all. In this world of luxury and perfection, Elon looked completely out of place. But little did they know, the man they were all silently judging was someone they'd soon recognize as one of the richest people on Earth. As Elon stood there, looking around, the staff didn't rush to greet him, or even acknowledge his presence. It was as if he didn't even belong there. One of the waiters, noticing him from a distance, glanced at him quickly before turning away. It was clear. They had already made an assumption about him based on his appearance. No polite smile, no "how may I assist you?" Just a quick dismissal. A few moments later, another staff member walked by, visibly ignoring him. She didn't ask if he needed help, didn't offer a menu. She simply acted like he wasn't there, as if he didn't matter. It was almost as if, in this place, looking like you had money was more important than who you really were. And because Elon didn't fit the mold, he was treated as invisible. As Elon stood near the entrance, the other diners didn't exactly welcome him with open arms. A few glanced over, their expressions quickly changing from curiosity to mild discomfort. Some gave him a look of disbelief, as if wondering what he was doing there. They couldn't hide their judgment. A woman sitting at a nearby table raised an eyebrow, whispering something to her companion, clearly unsure how to react to his presence. A couple at another table exchanged glances, shaking their heads slightly, their body language making it obvious they were uncomfortable. It was as if his very appearance, his worn clothes and unshaven face, was enough to make them assume he didn't belong in such an elite place. There was no kindness, no curiosity, just an immediate sense of superiority from those who looked his way. Elon, disguised as a homeless man, was invisible to them. Or worse, he was someone to be avoided. One of the most shocking moments happened when Elon tried to find a seat. As he walked past the tables, the staff barely acknowledged him. But when he tried to sit at an empty table near the window, a waiter quickly approached. "That table is reserved," the waiter said, without even glancing at him. Elon simply nodded and moved on, but the message was clear. He wasn't welcome there. Later, as he stood by the bar, hoping someone might offer him a drink, a few patrons gave him strange looks. One man even muttered under his breath, "Isn't it a little early for someone like him to be here?" His tone was dismissive, and it was obvious he assumed the homeless man didn't belong. These moments weren't just about a table or a drink. They showed how society can judge so quickly, based on nothing more than how someone looks. To these people, Elon was just another homeless person. Someone to be ignored or dismissed without a second thought. Just as the tension in the restaurant was building, something unexpected happened. A staff member, who had been walking past Elon, froze. She stopped dead in her tracks, staring at him for a moment, her eyes widening in disbelief. It was then that she seemed to make the connection. She had seen him before. Elon's face, despite the scruffy beard and messy hair, was still recognizable. "Wait a minute," she whispered to herself, her hand going to her mouth in shock. It wasn't long before she hurried over to her manager, whispering frantically. The manager's eyes widened too, and he turned to look at Elon, realizing who he was. The whole room seemed to shift. The whispers started, people exchanging glances, trying to process what was happening. The man they had all ignored, judged, and dismissed was none other than one of the wealthiest people in the world, Elon Musk. As the realization hit, the atmosphere in the restaurant changed instantly. The whispers grew louder, spreading like wildfire. People couldn't believe it. They'd been judging and ignoring Elon, not knowing who he really was. One of the customers, who had been staring at him earlier, suddenly gasped. "That's Elon Musk!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with disbelief. Other diners looked around, their faces shifting from confusion to shock. The staff, too, were in a state of panic. The waiter, who had been dismissive earlier, now seemed completely flustered. He quickly approached Elon, stammering apologies, offering him a prime seat, and asking if there was anything he could do for him. But it was too late. The damage was done. Elon, however, remained calm. He didn't seem angry or offended. Instead, he just gave a small smile, knowing the lesson was already learned. These people, who had treated him like an outsider, were now scrambling to make things right. As the truth settled in, the staff rushed to make things right. The manager, looking embarrassed and nervous, quickly approached Elon with an exaggerated smile. "Mr. Musk, I am so sorry for the misunderstanding," he said, his voice filled with regret. "We never meant to treat you this way." But Elon, calm as ever, just nodded. He didn't seem upset. Instead, he looked at the staff and said, "It's fine. It's part of the experiment." The waiter, who had been so dismissive earlier, now stood there, fumbling his words, trying to make up for his actions. I apologize, Mr. Musk. Please, let us know if you need anything. Anything at all." His tone was now overly polite, almost as if he were trying to make up for the earlier coldness. Other diners, realizing the situation, quickly chimed in with their own apologies, some offering nervous smiles, or awkward gestures of goodwill. But by now, Elon wasn't interested in the apologies. He'd already learned what he needed to know about how quickly society judges others based on appearances. As the apologies poured in, Elon stood there, not rushing to make any dramatic statements. He simply looked around at the staff, the diners, and the whole scene. It was clear he wasn't angry. He wasn't there to cause trouble or stir up drama. Instead, he offered a small, almost knowing smile. "I appreciate the apology, but this is exactly why I did this experiment," he said, his voice calm and steady. "It's not about me. It's about how we treat people based on how they look. A lot of people here probably didn't even give me a second thought until they knew who I was. That's the problem." His words hung in the air, and for a moment, the room fell silent. The staff, the customers, everyone seemed to reflect on what he had just said. Elon didn't demand special treatment. He didn't make a scene. Instead, he let his actions speak louder than words. And in that moment, his quiet response seemed to say everything. By the end of the day, Elon Musk had proven something powerful, not just to the staff or the diners, but to anyone watching. He had shown just how quickly we make judgments based on appearances, and how easily we overlook people who don't fit a certain image. Through this social experiment, Elon wanted us to reflect on how we treat others. "It's not about money. It's not about fame," he said. "It's about how we view each other, and how quickly we assume who someone is based on how they look." He hoped to challenge the way we perceive others, to make us stop and think before we judge someone by their clothes, their appearance, or their circumstances. Because, as Elon demonstrated, you never really know who someone is, or what they might have to teach us, just by looking at them. Elon's experiment isn't just about him or this one moment. It's a reflection of something much bigger. In today's world, we often judge others before we even take the time to understand who they really are. Whether it's based on someone's clothes, their job, or where they come from, we make assumptions about people every day. And these snap judgments can have a powerful impact, often leading to unfair treatment and missed opportunities for connection. What Elon's experiment shows us is that we need to challenge these biases. We need to remember that a person's worth isn't determined by how they look or what they own. Instead, it's about who they are and how we choose to treat them. After seeing this powerful experiment, it's clear that we all have a role to play in changing how we treat others. So the next time you encounter someone, remember, they deserve the same kindness and respect, no matter their appearance, background, or status. Let's challenge ourselves to see beyond the surface, to be more empathetic, and to treat others with the dignity they deserve. We can all make a difference by choosing compassion over judgment. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking content, and share it with someone who could use a reminder that kindness matters. Also, let us know in the comments, how can we all start making a difference in the way we treat others? To sum it all up, Elon Musk went undercover as a homeless person in a luxury restaurant to test how society treats people based on their appearance. The staff ignored him, the diners judged him, and he was dismissed without a second thought. But when they realized who he really was, the entire atmosphere changed. The apologies came pouring in, and Elon calmly reminded everyone that it's not about money or status. It's about how we treat each other. His experiment was a powerful lesson about empathy, judgment, and the biases we all need to challenge. What do you think about Elon Musk's experiment? Were you surprised by the reactions from the staff and diners? How do you think you would have reacted in that situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's a great conversation to have. Let's talk about how we can all make a difference in the way we see and treat others. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories like this. Your support helps us keep bringing you content that challenges the way we think and inspires change. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.